So what makes a business webinar great? It's not who's running it, is it? Because the joy of a webinar surely is its egalitarianism. Any size business can hold one. Budget is rarely a bar. You don't need a jazzy platform or an enormous marketing budget. And if you engage on social media and are savvy in the way that you connect with your customers anyway, then you can get a really good audience to your webinar just by organically promoting it on any of the social media channels, wherever your people hang out. But ruling out size and budget, what is the magic that makes a webinar great? What is the one that holds your attention, that gets you signing up for the next interaction, the next webinar with that company? Of course, content is very important, absolutely, and we sign up for a webinar because usually we think that we're going to learn something of value from it, or we're going to meet someone useful and interesting, even though we do know that the business running it is doing so to boost its brand, to flog us something, to pick our brains. We accept that, don't we? Because, it's giving us something that we want, and hopefully for the event organizer, we learn more and we end up liking the service and the product that is provided by the company who's actually hosting the webinar. But regardless of the content, however awesome it is, if the approach at the webinar is too salesy, if the speeches are too monotone, if the delivery is amateur and flat, then we don't leave thinking or feeling good things about the company that hosted it. So the difference between a good event and a bad event comes from the value that we, the audience, get, the enjoyment that we feel, whether we're inspired by it, if we leave feeling positive about our engagement with that business, with the business that sponsored it. So how do we make sure that a great webinar, or that our webinar has all that? Now, I would say you have to make the webinar varied. So don't have one speaker bleating on for an hour, have 3 different ones, and have breaks for questions and answers in between. Introduce interactivity, proper interactivity, not just notes in the chat, so that, polls, things like that. One speaker being interviewed maybe while the others give a presentation, different ways around it to make it more varied. Somebody speaking on an unusual topic, then somebody speaking on one that's a bit more expected, just to vary it. Limit the amount of slides that are shown, because most people are watching it on a little computer. The interactivity on these events can be up and down. Too many slideshows, it can go wrong and it's dull. But the key thing I would say is make sure that your speakers are really enjoying it, that they are having fun with it. And obviously a really important one, which I would say, wouldn't I, is if you employ a good host or an MC, they are really going to maximize that audience engagement, which is what you want, because that enjoyment, that's a great return on your investment. The MC's focus is on the audience. It's about giving them a good time. It's about playing down anyone who's doing any hard selling. It's asking the intelligent questions, and it's handling any of the glitches with charm, humor, and generally giving your webinar a bit of poise, presence, and patter.